Um, Live. I don't think the intro started. We just been sitting here. Okay, let's start the intro. Let's roll it back. Oh, it says it was playing. That's weird. It just switched us over. Well, we're gonna roll it again. Here we go. Welcome to the next stop on your journey from paycheck to pension. If you're ready to take your finances to the next level, you're in the right place. It's time to take control of your future, starting now, and we're doing it live. Hi, we're the Stidhams, and our goal is to help you get self-directed. It's the tax-free income that will shape your legacy. It's wealth, time, and the freedom you deserve. What you're about to learn will enable you to make confident and strategic moves. It means gaining complete control to invest in what you want when you want. We've helped thousands of people just like you. And if they can do it, you can too. So we hope you're ready, because it's about time that your money started working for you. And we're so excited that you chose us to show you how.
Starting right now.
Right now.
For the second time.
Part 2 in the same video. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and bearing with us. You know, technical difficulties has become part of our brand at this point.
It's the bride wasn't ready to walk down the aisle, so I had to, fix my makeup a little bit, and now I'm ready to go. That's right.
Okay, yeah, well, we had it's always a toss up. That's what keeps us on our toes. In life, you never know what you can do your best to plan and prepare, but how you handle obstacles is really just that's the whole journey. That's it right there. Hey, Antonio, I'm glad that he's back. This will be a really good session tonight. So, okay, so what are we talking about? I think what you were wanting to go over was pretty much what the trending topic was or conversation this week, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So of the, let's call it 40 people I probably talked to today, right?
This week, you mean?
What did I
You
say
said
today?
today.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, it doesn't come off as hard when I got to say it again. Of the 40 people I talked to this week, I think there's a lot that I want to cover tonight, but there was a consistent theme around, hey, I've started velocity banking. I can see my cash flow increasing. What do I do with it? Hey, I've talked to some banks and I'm headed down this path of a first position HELOC. I've done the math, or a second position HELOC, and I've done the math, and this is what it's going to look like, and all this, that, and other. And it's what I do with it. Or we take that simultaneous action as we've talked about. Not only am I doing velocity banking, but in addition to that, Donnell, just as we've been talking about, I wanted to start my secure compound interest account, and I want to better understand how a secure compound interest account like MPI is working. I've been getting a lot of text messages, let's just say, around just specific questions around, hey, how does money grow in this thing? Like, how is this better than my current IUL? Like, I just don't get it. Yeah, my current IUL is supposed to be structured properly, but how is it that when I put my numbers in this calculator, it looks a certain way? So it was just a consistent theme around the secure compound interest account, premium finance strategy, MPI, and how money works. And so what we wanted to do is just spend some time and just kind of break down, step through how money grows. And this is something we've covered in the past, but as I've said, I think this is something that we're going to have to do a lot. Because just like we've been conditioned to believe that our current retirement strategies are the best thing since sliced bread, or everything that all we need to do is contribute to our company's 401k and we'll be okay, the same way we've been conditioned around that, I think it's going to take a lot of repetition around a product like this so that people can understand what this looks like. So we've spent the last probably month and a half, maybe almost 2 months, deep diving velocity banking, deep diving HELOCs, first position and second position. In that period, we also discussed self-directed IRAs and 401ks. But it's been a while since we've kind of just peeled back the layers on MPI and kind of methodically stepped through things. So that's what we wanted to do today. That was a long intro.
That Well done. I said, Donnell, you do the intro this time, okay? and
Say less. Is that
and and
is that
and
where
and you
are they
did
still
that.
saying say less? Say less? Is
We
that a
can say whatever we want to say.
no cap? Like are they still
No,
capping?
no
Or
cap. We can say what we want to say.
well, say less.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Hey, Ken, we can't bring LinkedIn comments up, which totally stinks, but I just want to say
Can't
we
be on
thank
there
you so
jamming,
much.
man.
Ken's
Ken's always out there
comments
jamming.
are unmatched. He says, savor the flavor of the awesomeness in YouTube peeps for sharing your delectable nuggets of knowledge, information, passion, guidance, motivation, enthusiasm, and encouragement.
Ken comes with the bars.
Yeah, let's give it up for Ken.
No doubt, no doubt. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
so we are going to talk about how money grows. We're going to break this down again, and this is the perfect time to ask questions. So we are going to jump in right after I show this comment because why are you
Uncle and
laughing?
Uncle and Auntie, that cracks me up.
Yeah,
I'm somebody's uncle.
we can be that for
I've
sure.
known Uncle D a long time.
Miss AB says, Angelique, your hubby made me cry today. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have a conversation with him. What a blessing. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Thank you.
We
He
gotta do
actually came
this.
in. He actually came in right after he got off the phone with you. And he does this often. Like, there are so many meaningful conversations that you get to have with people. But this one made you emotional.
Hit me in the hort. It hit me in the hort. I've had a I've had a couple of these this week, and it okay. I've said this before, so I suffer from imposter syndrome. I know I do. I question daily whether or not this is something that I should be doing. I do not see myself as a guru. Do not come to me as a guru looking for velocity banking support. That's not me. I understand strategies because these are the strategies that we're using. I'm not educating, I'm not sharing, I'm not talking about anything I don't actually do. And so being on this platform and sharing this information on this platform, like I question whether or not the message is being sent properly, whether it's being received. Do I even make sense? Just because it makes sense in my head doesn't necessarily mean it makes sense to someone else. And
Right.
that's where your visuals come into play because it helps me stay focused on making sure I don't skip over details and stuff like that. And so when I meet with people and they throw my words back at me, it's like because I didn't write it down. I just said some stuff and people throw my words back at me and it just it touches me absolutely. And so I had a few conversations this week that it just man it just feels as though this is what we're supposed to be doing. And in every conversation, I go, but you really have to thank my wife because if it was not for you, I would not be here on this platform, and that's a fact. Didn't have a problem doing the video. Oh, that's a lie.
Cap. Okay. Throwing the hat for that. Right? Like, come and get him for
I had
that lie.
problems with videos too.
Jeez, OP.
A lot of problems with videos too. But I understood that in order for the message to get out, we had to put these videos out. So okay, I can muddle my way, work my way through that to get these videos out. These lives have become very, very easy for me because it feels like I'm having a conversation with you. And because I'm having a conversation with you, I can make it relatable to other people. We're just sitting around the kitchen table having a conversation. And it just so happens instead of a notepad or a whiteboard, I've got this vibe board behind me that allows my ugly handwriting to be displayed for the world to see. So I do appreciate you for, I don't know the word to say other than pushing me to kind of get out here and share because you're absolutely right. I feel like this is purposeful, and how else does it truly become purposeful unless I'm sharing the gift? That is really what my objective is. So anyway,
Well, thank you for that. And I of course value this part of our journey because it's meaningful for me too to watch you stepping into your purpose in this way. But what there's like another layer to this that I think is super significant. It's the thought of what you saw in yourself, right? What you saw was possible in how you could reach people. You didn't think anyone would really want to hear this stuff, but now you see like it's super valuable, and we have to be out here help like sharing this stuff.
absolutely.
And I think the other piece so one piece of that is how you see yourself versus how other people, what other people can see as possible
Right.
in you, for you. I think a lot of people watching now might even think it's or be struggling to believe that they could be debt free, that they could be financially secure, that they could be any of these other things or implement these strategies and that it will work for them.
Right.
That these strategies, these tools, this next 10 years for them could completely reshape not just their legacy, but generations upon generations to come. The belief that we have in ourselves obviously is programming wherever it came from, right?
That's all it is.
But I think there's somebody out there, and you might be sitting right next to this person for those of you who are watching, and this person has a vision, right? This person sees something and they won't let go of it. This idea might be this wild hair of, hey, I'm going to start this velocity banking and we're going to start a wealth building journey. And the person next to you might be going, no, you know what? I get all that and I get that people do that, but that's really not for me. And they may be pushing back and you might have to push them and you might have to show them that we can do this, right? This is important that we do this. And that's why I just feel it's significant that you bring that up, because what you believed about yourself, and just full transparency, like we're just starting this journey and you guys are here with us, right? But the idea that there might be somebody who believes something about you that you don't yet believe about yourself, I think we can all relate to that. And I think when somebody says something and it wakes that little part of us up and we get afraid, right? Like if I dig my teeth into this, if I like plant my foot in this space, I'm going to now have to be responsible for owning that space, right?
More excuses.
Right. The other piece to this is that this was a vision that I had, right? This was when I look at you and I hear you speak and I watched you over these last years and I go, he needs to tell more people this was a vision that was given to me, even if it wasn't given to you. And so therefore I have a responsibility in my role too, right? To encourage and to support you in this way so that we can help other people. What's ironic about this is throughout the course of this time, I was losing my eyesight, right? And this is so meaningful to me because through that part of my journey, I was so afraid I was going to just be blind. By now, that's pretty much what they said, right? That by now I wouldn't be able to see at all. And I did not let go of my vision. Like as much as I struggled with my eyesight, I didn't let go of my vision. And that's something that I hope I can leave everybody else with this evening is do not let go of your vision. Try to understand what those obstacles are. Try to understand how to navigate. Try to focus in. If you cannot see outward right now, you got to look inward, right? And do not let go of your vision. And I think that's the responsibility every time that we turn the camera on and we go live, we are saying that it is our responsibility to be here to make sure that other people are getting this information so that they too can either develop their vision or they can step into their purpose. These are all tools. This is all an avenue to help each other, that each one teach one. And that's what we're doing now. So I appreciate you being so transparent with everyone and sharing this part of your journey, because I think everyone can relate to what it is that you were experiencing and experiencing now.
Absolutely. And I think you said it very, very well, because sometimes you also have to look outside the box for answers to the challenges impacting your vision.
Right.
Sometimes the traditional means of doctors, the traditional means of banks, the traditional means of life insurance providers aren't going to get you where you need to go, especially when it as it relates to achieving and maintaining your vision. So sometimes you got to step outside the box. Sometimes you might have to go down a path that is not fully developed, or that's not where the masses are headed. But you just got to have to kind of blaze your own trail, and I think that's what we do on here as well. We're not taking a very, I'll call it, traditional approach to resolving these issues. This is very non-traditional.
Yeah. And on that same note, sometimes you have to be able to pause, rehear something twice. It's worth it to hear it twice. And so this is why we're going over this again this evening, is because it is really important that you hear this part and that you understand this part. And there's a few reasons why. One is we hear a lot of people come in and they say, I have an IUL. Can you compare this to an IUL? This is what how my IUL is going to is going to perform. This is what was told to me. And when you break down their illustration and when you show them that there's no possible way that whatever it was that they were promised is going to happen, and there are a lot of people out here who are trying to claim that they have the ability to write a policy like an MPI plan, but they absolutely cannot.
Right. Yeah. We
And you
absolutely
and
dig into it. Yep.
and if you don't know how money grows and what the difference is, then when you are out there talking to somebody, they're going to say, oh, I can do that too. And you're going to know, no, they cannot. You're going to know what to look for. You're going to know the questions to ask. And I think that part right there, like arming you all with that power to know the questions to ask, is even more important than just getting a general idea of what it is and believing us that it's the best, right? That it's the most secure income, tax-free income to date. So, are you ready to just jump in now?
Of course. Let's do it.
Okay. To the buy board, I'm sure. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, here we go.
So I just highlighted. So I just highlighted a few of the things that I've discussed this week with people, and they all kind of ended in the same place. Meaning, hey, I've started my velocity banking journey, and I'm seeing the cash flow starting to free up, but I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait until my house is paid off. I don't want to wait till I'm even approved for that first position HELOC. Hey, I want to get started on building a machine that can help produce income for me. So, if I take a portion of my current cash flow, or if this vehicle that the velocity banking process that I've already started, I see my cash flow increasing. What do I do with it? Where do I put it? And it kind of, it's all framed around the same question around, now what do I do? Like what steps do I take? Where do we go? And there are several strategies that we talk through, and it's self-directed IRAs and 401ks, velocity banking, first position HELOCs, using infinite banking, and then there's a premium finance strategy also called MPI. The key is, at least for me, usually when we meet, it's about, okay, I get it. What do we do now? Well, before I can answer now what, or what do we do now, what do I do with this cash flow, the first question that I ask is, so what's the goal? And traditionally, when you peel back all the layers, it is not paying off a home. It is not paying off my student loan debt. It is not getting out of credit card debt. The truth is, I am not happy or comfortable with the vehicle that I currently have at my current employer. And my concern is I want to be able to bridge this gap to get me to retirement, or I want to put myself in a position such that I can retire early, so that I don't need my employer or whatever the case may be. So how do you do that? Well, I like to focus on eliminating risk, reducing risk. And how do you reduce risk? Well, there's actually a formula for creating wealth, and that formula looks like this. That formula is y equals a times 1 plus r to the x. Simple algebra, right? A being you pay yourself first. So is there a vehicle out there that will allow you to just simply pay yourself first? Before you do anything else, put you in a position such that you can take care of you and not wait, starting right now. And this plus sign is very critical, because it's about, is the money that I am now putting in this vehicle secure? Meaning, regardless of what happens with the stock market, regardless of where inflation is, regardless of who's president, is it secure? And God forbid, I would hope my money is at least compounding. Is my money making its own money? Is my money creating employees? And then the biggest piece is there an opportunity to exponentially grow my money? What vehicles are you aware of? What vehicles do you know of hit all of these points? And again, notice what's not in this list. It's about reducing risk. Maybe I can't eliminate risk, but what are those vehicles that will allow you to reduce, if not eliminate, risk? And again, we've talked about a lot of things, but there's a few items that I've seen. One being real estate. I think if you do real estate properly, you can reduce, almost eliminate risk, and achieve that wealth equation. And the other one is this right here: maximum premium indexing. Some of the feedback that I've gotten this week in the comments were, hey, can you slow down and explain some of the acronyms that you use? And I love that feedback, because again, without the visuals, I will blow through something thinking that it's easily received and it's easily understood, when in truth, I'm leaving a lot of details on the table, and there's some things being missed. So what we're about to talk about is a premium finance strategy. What is premium finance? Premium finance, or premium finance strategy, is a strategy that's been around since 1997. This is not new. But the issue is you and I couldn't qualify for it. Why? In order to qualify for a premium finance strategy, you need $5 million in net worth and a whole lot of other stuff. And maybe there are some of you out there that are on this live that have $5 million in net worth, but I do not. And so therefore, to have a strategy that functions like a premium finance strategy, which we're about to walk through, is key. And that is what maximum premium indexing is, MPI. It's a premium finance strategy that uses a life insurance-based product to produce income. Now, this visual says retirement income because I'm a retirement planner. But the truth is, it doesn't matter your age. If you're 21 years old and you want to figure out a way to be able to retire by 45, this vehicle can do it for you. There's not an IRA on this planet that can do it. There's not a 401k on this planet that can do it. Now, real estate has made a lot of billionaires, so I can't discount real estate. But if we're talking about a vehicle where all you need to do is hold up your end of the bargain, and it's two pieces: be healthy and contribute. If you're healthy and you contribute on a consistent basis, you can build secure, uninterrupted compound interest over time using leverage to produce enough income that can have you retired before the traditional retirement age with your eyes closed. And I just have not seen another vehicle like this. So again, this is a life insurance product. You are purchasing life insurance, and the structure of this policy is such that it allows you to produce enough income over time to replace your normal job. So what we're going to walk through is a vehicle. The foundation of this vehicle is just an IUL. And I say just like you automatically understand what an IUL is. An IUL is just a permanent life insurance policy. There's whole life, variable life, universal life. There's many different types. MPI, maximum premium indexing, which is a premium finance strategy, is built on the foundation of an IUL, with one exception. Most IULs function the way this one does. You're going to contribute a certain dollar amount into the general fund. There's a 0% floor built into that general fund. You're going to make on average some growth, and you're going to turn around and keep doing it. Well, inside of MPI, the MPI strategy is where we're adding leverage. Someone else's money is being added to this process. So your contributions plus someone else's contributions is also creating income for you, which causes your cash value to build even faster over time. So I want to talk through a little bit as to what that looks like. So again, you contributing a certain dollar amount into this bucket. This bucket is called the general fund. This general fund is where there is a contractual guarantee, 0% floor, that the money that goes into that bucket cannot be lost due to market risk. Why do you care about any of those words? Well, if you put money in that bucket and there's a contractual guarantee that it can't be lost due to market risk, what you're achieving is a vehicle that can secure your money. And what's going to happen is the money in this bucket is going to grow a certain percentage. And we're going to take get that growth and buy a one-time call option in the S&P 500 index. So here is where risk is introduced into this process. The growth on the money in that bucket is going to be used to buy a call option. And I'll explain what that is. But the reason this is important is because that's where we introduce risk. As I mentioned, the key to a secure compound interest account, or the key to generating wealth, is to reduce or eliminate risk. Risk has not been eliminated, but we are reducing it. Why? Because your contributions are protected in this bucket. But the growth on the money in this bucket we are going to use and buy a call option. So there's some potential to be impacted by the stock market. But there's some actions that we've taken even in that part of the process to make sure your money's secure as well. So the example kind of looks like this. And this is, just so we're clear, is a real world example. This is an actual client that I actually completed his year 3 of this process in early July. So this is an actual example, actual client, actual age, and what he's currently doing. So 40 years old, and his time horizon is 25, meaning he wants to continue, he wants his WTF moment to kick in 25 years, meaning he wants enough money to be able to generate wealth, which will supplement his income. He wants full control over his time. His goal, he loves his job, so he wants to continue working till 65. But at 65, he wants full control over his time. And he wants to put himself in a position such that freedom kicks in, meaning he wants to be in a position to do whatever he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it. And if he was to not use a secure compound interest account, he has already done the math on what's the gap between his current retirement account, Social Security at that time, making some assumptions, and he understands that there's still a deficit. So the objective is to close that deficit using a product like this. He's doing he's doing velocity banking. I think he's working on a second position HELOC so he can access his equity, but he wanted to get started as quickly as possible, and he's putting away $10,000 a year annually. So $10,000 one time annually inside of his secure compound interest account. That $10,000 is buying $300,000 in life insurance. So again, this is a life insurance based product. So that $10,000 that's going into this bucket is buying $300,000 in life insurance. What that means is if something happened to him tomorrow, his beneficiaries would receive $300,000 in a death benefit. And as he puts in $10,000 a year, the cash value in this product increases. And as that cash value increases, his ability to be able to leverage that cash value to do whatever he wants, do infinite banking if he wanted to, replace his income, make investments, buy things, he would be able to do. And in addition, as he's contributing and as his money's growing, his death benefit is increasing. So this is another part that people tend to get confused on. This IUL that he's purchasing has a death benefit. Death benefit is 2 numbers. It's the life insurance, which is $300,000, plus any cash value that he doesn't use. So as he contributes to this, that death benefit increases $300,000 plus any cash value he's accumulating. And as I mentioned, where does this $10,000 go? Well, it's going into this bucket. What is it about this bucket? This bucket is protected by the 0% floor. What does that mean? That means regardless of who's president, regardless of whether Elon Musk and Zuckerberg have a fight or not, the money that's in this bucket is protected by the 0% floor, meaning you can't lose the money you've contributed. And then on top of that, as a show of good faith, if you want to call it that, the general fund is really just a high yield savings account. And the life insurance company that we use says, okay, since you put your money in this bucket, since you put this $10,000 in this bucket and you know it's protected by the 0% floor, we're going to grow the money that's in this bucket somewhere between 3 and 7%. Well, what's halfway between 3 and 7? 5. So on average, the money in this bucket is going to grow an additional 5%. 5% of $10,000, just using simple math, is $500. So when that $500 is made, this $500 off the growth of the $10,000 that's in this bucket that's protected by the 0% floor, meaning you can't lose it, that $500 is then used to buy a one-time call option in the S&P 500 index. So that's the step. And again, this is where risk is introduced. The $10,000 is untouched, but the $500 is now we are introducing risk to this process, and we're taking this $500 to go buy a call option. So let's go through what year one would look like. And as I mentioned, this is an actual example, which means I have the data around what 2021 looks like. I have the data around what 2022 looked like. And I have some preliminary information as to what 2023 is starting to shape up as. So again, these are actual dollar amounts that my client is actually experiencing right now. So again, $10,000 goes into the bucket. And again, this is 2021. So $10,000 goes into the bucket. It's protected by the 0% floor. We make on average 5%. That $500 is then taken, and we're going to purchase a one-time call option in the S&P 500 index. Well, what does it mean to purchase a call option in the S&P 500 index? Well, here's the high-level example of what a call option looks like. And I can make that bigger. Here's a high-level example of what a call option looks like. Someone way smarter than me is going to take that $500 and say, I believe the S&P 500 index is going to close somewhere around here. And if the S&P 500 index closes somewhere around here, I stand to make some additional growth on the money that I use to buy the call option, and that growth will be based off the total that's in the bucket. So let me say that in English. Taking this $500 to buy a one-time call option that says, I believe the S&P 500 index is going to close somewhere around 4,300. If it does better than that, then I stand to make on average 7%. So that can be anywhere from 0 to 10% is the cap. But on average, it's right around 7%. So I'm just showing the average. But the actual growth is somewhere around 0 to 10%. And I'll show you what that actually looks like. So if the S&P 500 index ends up higher than that, I make more money on the 10,000 that's in the bucket. If the market crashes, then I would lose the $500 that was used to buy the call option. So what happens in this equation? Well, I've actually got the data. So this is the performance of the S&P 500 index over the year. Now, the actual call option is taken from point to point on a 365-day period, meaning if I bought the call option on January 1, if I started my policy on January 1, that call option is purchased on the 364th day, I think, 365th day, which would be December 31st. And if I'm putting in my $10,000 over the year, meaning $833 a month, every month there's another call option. So it's point to point every month. Regardless of whether it's on the middle of the month, the end of the month, doesn't matter, but it's point to point, and it's dollar cost averaging if you're putting in your money throughout the year. So what does 2021 look like? Well, in 2021, we opened the S&P 500 index at about 3,700. It closed right around 4,766. So there was an increase of about 27%. So what you see over here is, okay, if this is where the call option was stated, meaning, hey, I'm making call option for 4,300 and it ended here, that means the $500 that was used to buy this call option, I made actually more than the average, but again, I'm just using the average here, and there was a growth of actually 27%. Some of you with an IUL might be saying, why am I capped? Like, I get it. I made 10% or whatever the case may be. But if this was an uncapped IUL, I would have made the full 27%. That is true. But had the market crashed, you would have also took the full brunt of what negative performance inside the market would have stated as well. So this is actually to protect you. Again, how do you build wealth? You build wealth by reducing, if not eliminating, risk. So the last thing we want to do is take a process that we're inviting risk into and add even more. So the way you reduce that risk is you put a cap on it. And then what that means is you don't participate in the pitfalls of the market. But in addition to that, your money is consistently growing over time, which means you don't have any ability of losing money due to market risk. So to kind of recap 2021, you put in 10,000. That 10,000 is protected by the 0% floor. You made about 5% on that 10,000. We take that 5%, that $500, and buy a one-time call option in the S&P 500 index. The call option does well. It actually made about 27%, but I'm just accounting for the 7% growth that we have. And the actual performance inside of the S&P 500, meaning for this specific client, his actual performance was 10%. So even though I'm showing 7% in this example, my client's actual performance in 2021 was 10%. So you got the full complement of the growth. Oh. So 7%. And for this example, I'm just going to call this $1,000. Again, I'm just making up a number just to get through this example. But my point is that $500 ultimately just transformed into $1,000. And so when we make that $1,000, what happens? Well, that $1,000 then goes into this bucket on top of the money that was already there. So at the end of 2021, that 10,000 became 10,000 of your money plus a growth, plus additional growth of 1,000. So in essence, at the end of 2021, your 10K added an additional $1,000 for $11,000 at the end of 2021. Hard stop. No rocket science, not difficult to understand, there's no magic here. It didn't grow super great, but your money, your 10,000 became 11 at the end of year one. It's okay. Let's go to year two. In year two, you're going to add an additional $10,000. When you add this additional $10,000 at year two, what happens? Well, your 11 has now picked up an additional $10,000 from your second year contribution, which means there's a total of $21,000 working for you. That $21,000 makes about 5%. We're going to take that 5% and we're going to buy a one-time call option. And again, so notice your principal untouched, but we're going to take the growth on that $21,000 and buy a one-time call option. Well, I think we all know what happened in 2022. In 2022, most of us with IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, real estate, brokerage accounts, day traders, we all lost somewhere between 19 and 41% in the market in 2022. So from a call option perspective, again, someone way smarter than me takes this $1,000 and is buying a call option of somewhere around $47.90. Why $47.90? Well, let's go look at it. Again, in 2022, the market opened at $47.96, but the market ended at $38.39, which means we lost, some of us lost, a lot of us lost about 19.44% in the S&P 500 in 2022. And let's see, I think I have it in here as well. Yeah, there it is. So,
oh, hey, but guess what didn't happen? They didn't get get financial advisors, mutual fund managers, they didn't get paid any less.
Look at you coming on the back end. No doubt.
I just want to remind people that even though people are losing money, it doesn't mean that they're not having to pay the same fees for the money for these people who are very aware of what's really going on with the market.
No doubt. But it. But in addition, what actually happened though inside of traditional retirement accounts? Some of us lost about 10%. And our financial advisor, who also made money off of us during that time because of 12B1 fees, said, okay, yeah, I see you lost 10%, but just keep buying. Well, how long does it take to recover from that 10%? How about 1.4 years? Some of us lost 24%. How long does it take to recover from 24%? How about 3.4 years? Some of us lost 45%. How long does it take to recover from a 45% loss? How about 6.4 years? So again, we all know what happened in 2022, but what happened in a product like this? Oh, I'm here, sorry. What happened in a product like this though in 2022? So, okay, again, $10,000 goes in, It's protected by the 0% floor on top of the 11 that was already there. So there's a total of 21 in the bucket, makes about 5%. We take that 5% by a call option. We were hoping for great performance, but oops, what did we get? That's a loss of 19%. How much of that 19% did we experience? How about none of it? Because there's a 0% floor. Now, the $1,000 we used to buy the call option was lost. So, okay, that's gone. And how much money did we make? How about zero? So what that ultimately means is at the end of 2022, there was nothing that went into this general fund on top of the money that was already there. So at the end of 22, what did it look like? Well, it just looks like we made 21K, meaning we ended the year with where we started the year. We just didn't make money. And this is the concept of consistent base hits versus home runs and losses. Even though we didn't make money, I don't have 17 months, 41 months, 77 months to have to recover to make up for the loss that I have on my 21,000. It just means I held. It just means I didn't make money this year. But then here comes 2023. And I kind of mentioned it. Let's see, do I have it in here? All right, go back. I kind of mentioned at some point in this process, we're going to have our contributions, and then there's going to be an additional contributions coming from the life insurance company. So we are now at year 3. This match contribution kicks in year 3. So that's what we're going to walk through. We're going to walk through what happens at year 3. And this is kind of where we are currently today. So I wanted to highlight something though. Again, there's $2 amounts that's going to be added into this equation. Those $2 amounts consist of money coming from the life insurance company and our traditional contribution. Well, there's a lot, this dollar amount coming from the life insurance company has a lot of names. Some people call it the RELOC. And to the person who commented around me being a little bit more detailed in my acronyms, RELOC, Retirement Equity Line of Credit. It's a completely made up word. I doubt it's in the dictionary, but it's absolutely an appropriate description of what we're about to walk through. What's happening is there's a line of credit provided to you by the life insurance company. It's not something that you had to, I'll call it, have a great credit score for, or someone had to run your credit, or you had to fill out an application, none of that. The agreement between the life insurance company and you is this. As long as you've contributed to your policy for 2 consecutive years, you have the ability to leverage all of the cash value from year 1. How much cash value was accumulated in year 1? Well, without me going back, in year 1, our 10,000 became 11. 10,000 plus 1,000, that's $11,000. So you're able to take $11,000 as RELOC, a retirement equity line of credit from the life insurance company. It's not something that you have to be approved or qualify for, I'll say. Some people call it a match because that's absolutely what's happening. If this was an employer-based plan, there is a certain amount of match that's being added at year 3. Some people just call it leverage because we are leveraging the life insurance company's money. Those who do life insurance call it a participating loan. These all mean the same thing. The moral of the story is we are borrowing from the life insurance company $11,000, everything from year 1. And when we do that, we're going to place that $11,000 into this bucket. So $11,000 from the life insurance company plus $10,000 from our standard contribution does what? Well, there was already $21,000 in this bucket. So we're going to take another $10,000, so $21,000 plus our additional 10, and then there's $11,000 that's being added into this bucket from the life insurance company. So there's $2 amounts working for us. There's our contributions plus the life insurance company's contribution. And that 5% growth inside the general fund is the same 5% growth. There's nothing different. The money that we can put into this general fund is protected. The money that we've leveraged from the life insurance company is protected. So I want to digress for a moment. Another one of the questions that I traditionally receive is why? Why would a life insurance company allow us to borrow $11,000 from them to grow our account faster than a traditional IUL. Meaning, why can't I do this inside of an IUL? What makes this so special? Well, maximum premium indexing is just that. And look at it from a risk perspective for the life insurance company. What is the risk of the life insurance company allowing you to leverage your money from year one and put it in the general fund? What is the overall risk? And again, this strategy isn't new. This is a premium finance strategy, been around since 1997. So we didn't go to the life insurance company and ask to do something that doesn't already exist, that isn't already proven. So what's the risk to the life insurance company to allow us to borrow, to allow us to leverage our own 11,000? What's the risk? Well, if it's in this general fund and this general fund is protected by the 0% floor, can we agree that there is zero risk to the life insurance company to allow us to borrow 11,000 from them? And because there's zero risk to the life insurance company, guess what? There's also zero risk to us because the money is sitting in the general fund. Now, if we borrowed that 11,000 and put it in our pocket, there's risk there because I could blow it at the casino. But because that $11,000 is sitting in the general fund and the general fund is protected by the 0% floor, every dollar in the general fund has a contractual guarantee from the life insurance company that says you can't lose it due to market risk. So at a minimum, we are starting to separate ourselves from other IULs. We are starting to separate ourselves from other cash value life insurance products like whole life. Why? Because they cannot do this. You cannot add leverage back into your policy in any other product. I don't care if it's the laser fund, Kaizen, infinite banking using a whole life policy, variable life, universal life. You cannot. This is the only process that will allow you to leverage money from the life insurance company and put it back into the general fund and leverage it, meaning create an arbitrage situation. There is a cost to borrow, just so we're clear. I'm not borrowing this money. I'm not leveraging this $11,000 for free. We'll get into that. But the piece I want you to see is this. Let's do some math. 21,000 of your money from last year, 10,000 from this year, plus 11,000 added. Doing some simple math, that's $42,000. So in year one to year two to year three, your accumulated value inside of the general fund is $43,000. Every other IUL, and again, this is the start of year three, right? We ended year two with how much? We ended year two with 21,000. We're now starting year three with 42,000. Again, ended year two with 21,000, starting year three with 43. Your account doubled in size by simply just adding leverage. Show me the IUL that doubles in size at year three. If you have one, pull out your illustration. Show me where your IUL doubles in size at year three. It doesn't exist. Show me the whole life policy that has guaranteed growth. Show me the whole life policy that doubles in size at year three. It doesn't exist. Show me the real estate portfolio, and you probably could, that doubles in size at year three. There's a possibility there. But how about your company's IRA, your 401k, 403b, 457 plan? You name it. You name it. Show me one that doubles in size from the end of year two to the start of year three. And I go back to, this is where we start to separate ourselves. This is where a premium finance strategy starts to look different. It starts right here. And if you're thinking about how to build a product like this and how to get your money in and make sure it's working for you as much as possible, think about year one. Because notice, what happened in year three is we pulled everything from year one into year three. What that means is the larger you make year one, the larger year three. So in this scenario, we doubled our growth from the end of year two to the start of year three. Had we put in a lump sum of, let's say, $50,000, that would have been an additional $50,000 on top of this number, which means we would have been 2, maybe even 3 times the amount that was sitting in at year one. At year two. So my point is, year one is a critical year because you're pulling that into year three, and therefore the larger you make it, the better your performance. So let's walk through year three. So again, 11,000 of your money, 11,000 of the leverage money, 10,000 of yours, all going into this bucket. You now have 31,000 of your money. It's going to grow somewhere around 5%. We're going to take that growth somewhere around $1,500. Here, I'll make this a little bit bigger because I know it's small. And then the leverage money, the 11,000, is also going to grow somewhere around 5%. We're going to take that same 5%, let's call it $500, and we're going to buy a one-time call option with these two separate dollar amounts in the S&P 500 index. I can show you what it looks like, or you can take my word for it. As of right now, the current performance inside of the S&P 500 index is looking somewhere around 4464, 4470, somewhere around there. So if you have, your third year ends somewhere around this point this year, this is what your performance would look like, which means you would be achieving somewhere around 7%, 10%, whatever that performance would be on what your call option was, meaning you would get the full complement of this growth at year three. But for this example, let's just call it 7%, and I'm not even going to use a number. So if you're making 7% on your money, then your 7% is going to go back into the bucket. But for the life insurance company's money, you're making the same 7%. But I did say there's a cost. There's a cost to borrowing that 11,000. That cost is 4%. So if you made 7 and it cost 4 to use it, when we pay back the life insurance company the 4% that we owe, and just so we're clear, this 4% goes into this bucket on top of this 11. So this 4% doesn't go anywhere. It goes right here. It's just not yours. But when we pay back the life insurance company the 4% we owe, that remaining 3% is yours, which means your money makes an additional 3% on the money that was put here. So in essence, what does it look like at the end of year three? At the end of year three, it would look like 31,000 of your money plus an additional 7% on the growth of your money plus an additional 3% on someone else's money. While everyone else who has an IUL would have made 31,000 plus 7% on their money. That 3% would not exist in a traditional IUL. Again, this is where we start to separate ourselves. You may not look at 3% as being that much, but at the end of the day, this is where we separate ourselves from traditional IULs. This is where we separate ourselves from other cash value life insurance products. And this is definitely where we separate ourselves from traditional retirement accounts. So again, 31,000 on your money. So 31,000 of your money, you made 7% on 31,000 of your money, and then you made an additional 3% on this 11,000. So this is not 3% on 31,000. It was 3% on the 11,000 that we use. That's what it would look like at the end of 2023. I won't go through year 4 because year 4 basically looks the same. But I do want to highlight year 5. And I want to highlight year 5 for a reason. Just to kind of recap what this would look like. In year 1, it's your money. In year 2, it's your money. In year 3, it's your money plus you're leveraging money that you're, everything from year 1 from the life insurance company. So which means you're borrowing everything from year 1 starting in year 3. In year 4, we're going to borrow another 11,000 from year 1 and pull that into year 4 on top of what's already there. But in year 5, something special happens. At year 5, because we've met that obligation again, what was the original obligation? Hey, from the life insurance company's perspective, as long as you fund your policy for the first 2 years, you're able to leverage year 3. So because we've done that, now starting in year 5, we've funded our policy consecutively for 2 years again. Now you're able to actually borrow 2 different amounts. It's the 11,000 from year 1 plus an additional 11,000 from year 2, meaning at year 3, you're able to leverage years 1 and 2. So there's just high level walk through what that would look like at year 5. So at year 5, you're now leveraging double the amount that you were. So the original 11,000 for year one, but you're also leveraging an additional 11,000 from year two, which means you're leveraging a total of 22,000 at year five, plus your $10,000 is going into this bucket, meaning it's everything from year four, plus an additional 22,000 of additional leverage at year five. So which means your leverage dollar amount is starting to increase. It's starting to get bigger. It's starting to outperform your original contributions. And then we just function the same way we have been doing. And that is buying a one-time call option, whether it grows or whether it doesn't, and then that performance ending up back inside this bucket. If you were to look at this over time, so if you would look at this over time and compare this to a traditional IUL. So if you were putting in $10,000 a year inside of a traditional IUL, you'd be making 7% on your money. And if it's uncapped, okay, uncapped performance on your money. But in essence, you would have contributed $100,000 and on average made about 7% on your money. But inside of MPI, what's happening is your 10,000 starting in year three is leveraging 10. And then starting in year five, you're leveraging years 1 and 2, which is a total of 20. And then in year 7, you're leveraging years 1, 2, and 3, which is $30,000. So in essence, over a 10-year period, your $100,000 would have leveraged a total of $200,000 from the life insurance company. So you're making 7% on your money plus 3% on this leveraged money. And again, that leveraged money, where did it come from? It's the same 7% that you're making on your money, but there's a cost to borrow, and that cost is 4%. Which allows you to keep 3, and that's where we're end up making somewhere around 10+% just based off that growth. And if you look at this over time, what does it look like? Every odd year, there's additional leverage being introduced into this process. Again, while your traditional IUL is doing this, your MPI premium finance strategy is doing this. And I just stopped at year 11. This is infinite. This can go as long as you want it to go. This can go as long as until you reach your max insurability, which means you can't buy any more life insurance and you can't get any more leverage into this policy. But this can go till infinite. This can go infinitely long. Ultimately meaning there is no cap on the amount of growth that you can have inside of a product like this. There is a cap on the call option. That cap on the call option is to protect you, but there is no cap on the growth inside of a product like this. So the only thing I would like to kind of highlight here at this point is I want to show what this looks like inside of the calculator. And then the only other thing I would kind of highlight if we need to, I don't know that we need to, is I didn't highlight what a down market would look like inside of this product. I can go over that as well, but I will allow that to be, if that's asked of me, I'll do it. Otherwise, I say we jump over to the calculator and let me show you what this looks like for my client.
You have arrived at the calculator.
Thank you, babe. So again, 40 years old, 40 years old with a time horizon of 25 years. So we're talking 40 years to 65, putting away $10,000 a year, which is about $833 a month. So what does that look like over that 25-year period? Again, that's his time horizon. So we're talking about $100,000 tax-free for the rest of his life. We're talking about an asset worth $917,000. $100,000 in income, tax-free. $917,000 is that liquid cash. And that $10,000 is buying, as I mentioned, it's right around $300,000 is what the life insurance is being purchased on day one. But if he ends up living till age 65 or living beyond age 65, that death benefit is 2 numbers. It's the growth on the life insurance, meaning it's the additional life insurance being purchased, and the cash value that is never touched, which equates to a death benefit of about $2.1 million. Again, show me the 401k that can come anywhere close to this. Show me the IUL that can come close to this. Because again, you take this leverage out, what does that leverage look like? In this equation, in this example here, he would have put in about $250,000, well, $250,000, about $250,000. That's the amount that has been contributed by my client. he would have leveraged starting in year 3, that 11,000 and so on. He would have leveraged over this 25-year period 1.5 million. Show me the IUL that can leverage 1.5 million. It can't. And so how do you get from $250,000 to 917,000 in cash value? If this was a traditional IUL, you might be able to double that number. So you might get to 500,000. You might even get to 600,000. But 917 without help? I don't think so. And so ultimately what that ends up looking like is about $100,000 tax-free for the rest of his life. And last thing I want to note, if he were to just take this same approach inside of a traditional retirement account, what would that look like? Same $250,000 inside of a traditional IRA, 401k, you name it, doesn't matter. I'm going to call these numbers comparable. The issue is traditional retirement planning suffers from the 4% rule. And so therefore, there's this $34,000 a year taxable or $34,000 a year tax-free is nowhere close. We're talking 3 times the amount inside of a traditional retirement account. Done.
All right.
Are there any questions?
Yep. We do have questions. So our fun thing didn't play again, so that's not fun. That's not fun when it does that. Well, anyhow, the whole point was to have something fun things, and now we're going to get to the Q&A. So if you're at home, you're watching us on TV, which over 50% of our viewers, oh wait, I just saw it did work on, it's just not working for us to see. So I'm glad, I love that for you guys that you got to see that. Okay, if you're on the TV, you can take your phone out, you can scan this code and text us your questions. We've already got a queue going, so we're just going to jump into that for right now, but give you just a second to let you know that while we're live, this is the best time to ask questions. So some of you have already put some in, and some of you are putting them in now, I can see, and we've got LinkedIn and our texting service too. So this is how to do it. Let's get into it.
And I apologize. I know I was kind of locked and loaded, so it's a machine gun of information, I'm sure, fire hose of information. Again, I don't think this is the last time I will go over this subject. I just wanted to, again, I've gotten so many questions this week around this process. I just wanted to just lay it out there. So.
Okay. Amma says, can I do 1035 with my IUL, though I owe on it?
So great question. So what is a 1035 exchange? A 1035 exchange would allow you to take your life insurance policy that you have somewhere else and move it into another life insurance product tax-free. Well, a 1035 exchange only makes sense if you have cash value. If you've borrowed against it, that could be okay if you still have cash value. But if you are, I'll call it, if the performance inside your policy is negative, meaning there's no cash value to leverage, then it doesn't make sense to do a 1035 exchange. And that's where this is I say this so casually, and I understand the impact behind it, but I don't know how to say it any other way. And it's this. Sometimes we buy these products from people and the products are just poor. And therefore we bought a life insurance policy that gave us life insurance. We didn't buy a life insurance product that was meant to, or designed to produce income. Therefore, we may have just wasted 2, 3, 4, 5 years of premium and didn't get anything out of it other than, hey, if I would have died, my family would have received a death benefit. Meaning, there are some IULs out there that it doesn't make sense to do a 1035 exchange for, which means you just got to kind of let that die and start new. Even though you've been putting in your $500 a month, $1,000 a month, I get it, but there's nothing that you can do with a poorly designed product. Anything else, dear?
Okay, yes, I'm sorry. Okay,
right.
let's go from the
Managing
top
comments.
here. Tyrone says, where do you open this type of account?
Right here. To create a secure compound interest account, a premium finance strategy, you do have to talk to someone who's certified to be able to offer this product. Your traditional life insurance provider, whether he offers IULs or whatever, traditionally can't unless they've tested to become certified to be able to provide this product, because it's different. So you have to understand it. There's maybe 100 of us across the country. So you would have to get it from a certified MPI advisor. I am one of those. So it's just a matter of jumping on my calendar. And we can absolutely kind of walk through what that process looks like. And you bring up another point. You didn't ask the question, but I'm going to make the point here. Where do we offer MPI? Meaning, can you get an MPI plan? Can you get a premium finance strategy from anywhere? You cannot get an MPI plan in the state of New York. Sad to say. Why is that? I am not smart enough to be able to tell you. I can give you what I think, though. The state of New York is where the stock exchange lives, and we are direct competition. So we have been working with New York to try to become approved to offer a premium finance strategy in New York, but as of today, we cannot. So the other 49 states, not a problem. But New York is the only state that we cannot offer a premium finance strategy like MPI. And then when you step outside of the continental, or when you step outside of the United States, because Hawaii and Alaska we can provide. When you step outside of the United States, so any of our Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Canada, Mexico, anywhere across the pond, we cannot offer a premium finance strategy like that either, or there either. So.
Okay, he's also wants to know, do you need a medical exam?
Maybe. So this is a life insurance based product. You have the ability to do what's called full underwriting or accelerated underwriting. What does that mean? Full underwriting would mean we would fill out an application, and yes, in 24 to 48 hours, you would get a phone number to be able to schedule a health exam, to have a traveling nurse come out to your home. And what would she do, or what would he do? He would weigh you, take your blood pressure, check your heart rate, check your vitals, weigh you, maybe draw blood. You might have to pee in a cup. But yes, I'll call it a very non-intrusive exam. Well, if you go through accelerated underwriting, I'll call it an exam where a traveling nurse will come out to your home, doesn't exist. The exam is actually a phone call where you would have I'll call it 30-minute conversation with exam one to kind of walk through your health, and that would suffice as your actual health exam. So it's possible that you could have an exam, but you may not need to or may not be required to. It really just depends. You can qualify for accelerated underwriting.
Okay. Next is Antonio. He says, are you able to borrow the premium of the life insurance? Example, $10K a year for fourth year. You should have $50K, correct? Will you be able to borrow the $50K?
Yep.
Calculator?
If you want, because I can show you. So
Okay.
40 to 45. And again, it's 10K a year. So 40 to 45, you've got about 54. To your point, you should have about 50,000. You know what? You bring up another point that I don't even know you realize you brought up. If you have an IUL, what he's saying is at year 5, you should at least have what you've contributed. Go home, pull out your cash value life insurance product, your whole life, your variable life, and look at year 5. At year 5, if you've put in $1 in year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, do you have $5 available to you? Answer that question, because in most poorly designed products, you don't. But yes, to your point, yes, you do have $50,000, 54 to be exact, $54,000 available to you at year 5. This is liquid cash. This is your cash value. No different than the cash value in any other product. So can you leverage it? Can you use it to go do infinite banking? Can you go pay a bill? Absolutely. This is a savings plan, not an investment plan. And because this is a savings plan, you can access this money whenever you would like without restriction. Now, how you use it matters, but can you use it? Absolutely. Can you do what you want to with it? Absolutely. Good question.
Okay, he has another one. Another question. The 5% call option is year end after the amount is earned.
Right. So if you contributed on, again, January 15th, that call option won't be taken until just before the anniversary date of the full year's performance. So it would be taken on, what is that, January 14th. And then if you're putting in on a monthly basis, it's every again it's called a point to point is what they call it. So yes, it would be a full year after that contribution.
Okay. Nathan wants to know, is the relock amount leveraged equal to the cash value in the policy?
So that's a good question as well, and I think that's where the calculator matters. So let me play this out year by year, and you'll watch how the cash value grows based off the relock. So let's start at year 3. So at year 3, you'd be 43. So at year 3, you would have put in $30,000. And as I mentioned, starting in year 3, you leverage everything from year 1. That's right around that $10,000 at year 1. And again, this calculator functions on an average, so it just kind of is what it is. But anyway, you've put in 30, you've leveraged 10. You now have all of your money working for you by year 3. And so, does this equal the amount of your premium that you've put in? No, because at year 3. You're pulling in everything from year 1 into this product, meaning you're leveraging all of year 1 at year 3. So at year 3, does the relock feature match what you've contributed? No, it does not. But what does this happen? How does this look over time? So let's call it 10 years. So you've been putting in $10,000 a year for the next 10 years. So you would have contributed right around $100,000. Because in year 3 you leveraged year 1. Because in year 5 you leveraged years 1 and 2. Because in year 7 you leveraged years 1, 2, and 3. Because in year 9 you leveraged years 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because you added all of that leverage into your policy, at year 10, your $100,000 has leveraged double what you've contributed. So you've exceeded the amount that you've contributed in leverage. That's why when you start looking at the growth of this product, which one is better? 7% on your money or 3% on this dollar amount? Which one makes you more money? 7% on your money or 3% on this leveraged amount? Well, that's year 10. What does this look like at age 65? So again, you've put in $250,000. You're making 7% on $250,000. Which one is more money? 7% on $250,000 or 3% on $1.5 million? So this would be a mediocre product if your amount of leveraged money, your relock, matched your contribution. This would be very mediocre. But because it's not, because the leverage exponentially builds, exponentially grows, it ends up being whatever that math is. I don't even want to do it. But 3% on 1.5 million is how you're able to achieve this $900,000. It is not the growth on this money that's giving you this. It's the growth on this dollar amount that's giving you this. And again, that's what makes this different. Great question.
Yep.
I answered like 5 questions in that question.
Paulette says, how can I be a part of this group
You are.
right now?
Like, what am I missing? Well, we can talk about the boat.
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to talk about. Specifically because you were talking about
Get in the boat. Get in the boat.
because you're talking about how important the first 2 years are. The story about the boat and why we have this, why we give this away, why this is like our prize, right? Is it seems insignificant, like this stupid little boat, right? But wait a second. Watch how this boat changes. But wait, watch how this boat changes value, and it'll only take like 2 minutes.
It slices, it dices.
In 1998, there was a British rowing team, and they had their mind set on winning the Olympics, right? And they were ranking 7th. So no matter what they did, they could not get beyond 7th place. They kind of were assessing, well, how are we ever going to win first place if we can't get past 7th place? And they knew like inevitably they had 2 options. They could continue doing what they'd always done and expect the same result, or they could just admit defeat, right? Hey, we suck. We're not good enough for first place. Clearly, all the writing's on the wall. Let's just give up. Or the third option, which is something that, we all have these same options, right? The third option was that they would have to commit and they would have to understand how everything that they have done and everything that they will do impacts the goal. Why this is significant? Because what they realized was so many people were so focused. Anytime that they were talking about the Olympics, they were talking about the day of the competition. How that day went was all of the focus went on that one day. For a lot of people, they're thinking like, when I get old, when that day comes, then I'll worry about retirement, right? Then I'll worry about income. Then that's when I'll be worried about financial security. Here's why it's important, because they realized that it was the 2 years prior to that day that was, and all of the decisions that were made along the way, every single day for those next 2 years, that's where the keys would be found to unlock their achievement, right? And so they all decided that, they didn't get to pick to work together. They didn't get to pick who was on the team. Nobody made those decisions, but they all had something in common. They had their goal and they had their current results, right? And it was the results of everyone on the team, not one person. However, one person could impact even if everybody else was doing the right thing, right? How does this relate to this? You could be doing the right thing by putting all your money in your 401k. You could be doing the right thing by doing what you were told to do, essentially, and allowing those other entities to do that surface math and scare you from educating yourself on the details, right? When they really got serious about the details, they unified over one question: will this make the boat go faster? This was kind of their beacon, right? This became their mantra, and they asked this one question before they did anything else: will it make the boat go faster? If the answer was yes, then they had to do it or they could do it. So will waking up at 5 a.m. make the boat go faster? Yes. Well, unfortunately, they had to do it, right? Will this make the boat go faster if I want to go celebrate with my friend at his birthday party? No, then you're not going to do it, because you are committed at a different level. This is how you used to do things. You used to make excuses. You used to allow circumstances to just land and then find out where you ranked, right? This is what the 401k does. This is what some of these traditional retirement systems do. They just are circumstances, and then you wait to the end to find out where you ranked. Well, they were always ranking 7th doing those types of systems, right? And trying to achieve a goal, but using this type of system, this type of mindset, this type of framework, and how it is that they were going about achieving a goal. They knew now that they had to commit to at a different level. This was a commitment that unified them across everything that they did. And so you have to ask yourself, who's in your boat, and who's do you want in your boat? Because if you have systems or people or you're trusting entities that are inside of your boat that can determine how fast it goes, that can determine what direction it goes. For us, this isn't a game. This is not a competition. The only people we're competing with are ourselves and the people inside of our boat, right?
Right.
This is not a game, though. There's nothing that you walk away from going, well, I guess I did my best. We have to suffer. We don't just get 7th place and then we get to go on with our lives. This is detrimental. And so we have these boats as a visual reminder, because this mantra has been something that has been a part of our family. And now with one question, we can bring it all full circle. If anybody in this house asks another person, will it make the boat go faster? They know exactly what they mean by that question, right? Absolutely. And it becomes non-negotiable. If the answer is no, then you have to be accountable for that. If the answer is yes, then sometimes you have to do the unfortunate things or look at things from a perspective and asking that question. Even sometimes that's even significant enough. Go ahead.
Well, and because I think you're spot on, and that is so. What does it take to become a part of this group? This is the boat. And we all have our own individual boats going in our own individual direction, but this is also one big boat. And the question that you ask yourself is, will this make the boat go faster? Will paying myself first today, somewhere secure, compounding my money and then growing it exponentially, will this help me reach my goal, which I've identified as wealth? Will this make the boat go faster? If it doesn't, then why am I doing it? So should I pay off my home? Should I be worried about those student loans? Should I pay Netflix first? Like, these are all questions that hopefully when you spend time in this group, what you're seeing is, you know what? Am I focused on the right things? And are these things going to help the boat go faster? If I do these things, will I hit that goal? Well, first you have to identify what is the goal. And then we can determine whether or not we're headed in the proper direction. But it's all about, so you're all, because you're here today, you are already a part of this group. But the question that you have to ask yourself is, will what I'm doing today make the boat go faster? And if it will not, then what are the adjustments that need to be made to the processes that I'm doing today so that I can head in the proper direction and make sure we're all rowing in the same direction so that we can make this boat go as fast as possible? So,
Yeah, and every question that you guys are asking, the first thing that's circling in our mind is, will what they're asking help make their boat go faster? And so sometimes when people are asking us one question, he says, and what you didn't ask, right? Because he's already thinking ahead. I understand the direction your boat should be going. I'm pretty sure that's where you want your boat to go. I'm pretty sure you want to win. And here's the other part. I think why this is so significant for us, especially to share like this concept, right, is because we don't want you to cross the finish line at the end of the race.
right,
If you're picking up what I'm putting down,
right,
you shouldn't have to work until it's over.
right.
You should be able to place and you should be able to win before your race is over. Before the race is over. That's how you win. And if you're waiting until after the race has already, and you just never made it, if it's I'll try my best, whatever those circumstances are, and again, finding out, where did I rank? How did I rank? Who's the person who's determining that? And why do they have so much dang control over our financial future to be able to determine and be able to say, well, I guess this is where we are going to rank you, and this is where you are going to place, even if you do your absolute best and put in your $500 a month into your 401k. You put your employer contributions, you do everything that you're supposed to do. But the one thing you didn't do, right, was get self-directed on a level that says, I know that the first 2 years before the Olympics, the days prior to, not the day of, but everything that led up to that moment, I am responsible for. Therefore, if someone is out here and they're telling me what it is I should do, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to go learn what questions to ask, because I have to know. This cannot be negotiable. I have to know if this is going to make my boat go faster. I got to know that I'm going to be able to finish this race before it's over. There is no possible way that somebody else is going to say, aha, right? Oh, guess you should have. There is no gotcha moment that's going to happen for me, because I can take control. And now I know. Here's the thing, though. Not everybody knows that they can take control.
Right. And the key is, and hopefully that's what, again, how can I become a part of this group? Being here, the whole objective of this group is to share the look behind the curtain, raise the hood, see what makes the car run, take a look behind the curtain and see how the wizard does what it does. So that we're arming you with things to say, arming you with the right questions to ask, arming you with tools that the traditional approaches to building wealth do not arm you with. So the whole objective is just to arm you with tools. Now, what you do with the tools is totally up to you.
Yeah.
But the objective of this group is just to arm you, get you ready so that you can go to Fidelity and have a conversation about your retirement account and ask the questions like, why is this performance this way? What other actions can I take with this vehicle to be able to do other things with it, to be able to get it in a better place? Or better yet, maybe I want to take it from where it is, self-directed on my own, take more control over my retirement dollars to be able to buy non-traditional investments to grow my retirement account so I can exceed and or beat the 4% rule. Hey, I've got this life insurance product that some dude at Prime America sold me because I thought it was supposed to be doing this infinite banking thing, but I've learned that, you know what, if I just look at where my policy breaks even, I now have an understanding of how my policy is not serving me. So you know what, I'm gonna go back to the guy that sold it to me and make him explain to me why this is the way that it is, and maybe I can make an adjustment where it is. Or maybe I need to move that cash value life insurance product to another place so they could do more for me than just give me life insurance, because I'm not here to buy death insurance. I'm here to
Right.
buy life insurance. The objective is this should be a vehicle that you should be able to leverage and use to grow income right now so that you can get in a better place, so that you can have your WTF moment. Not, I'm buying this vehicle such that once I pass, then my family would be taken care of, but I have to work this 40-hour-a-week job and damn near kill myself in doing so.
Well,
Like,
they're
nah,
just
we're not
waiting
doing
for
this
you to
anymore.
they're just waiting for you to kick the bucket because
Right.
they need the hand up too. Like we all have to have financial security. It is not negotiable. We're going to have to figure out some way of feeling secure and feeling like we can survive. It is just human nature to do what we can to survive and to desire to thrive in that journey, in the midst of that journey, right? Okay, I'm going to keep going with the questions. So, okay, Mark Anthony says, "Hi, my mom is 69. She is planning to retire in 1 year. Any options for her? Thanks in advance."
Um, yes, but it also depends on what her goals are. Meaning, I only talked about secure compound interest account today, right? So if we're saying, hey, my 69-year-old mom getting an MPI plan on herself to be able to build wealth, the thing, I guess I didn't highlight this in this vehicle. The thing about this vehicle, yes, it produces wealth, but it is not Bitcoin. It does not produce wealth tomorrow. You do have to give your money time. Notice in this example, the time horizon was 25 years. At 69, is there another 25 years that she can wait to be able to produce this type of income? I'm going to guess and say probably not. But does she have options? She absolutely has options, meaning maybe her goal, maybe at 69, she's in a good place and her retirement is enough. She just wants to be, it's just not enough to be able to produce a legacy for every, for her future grandchildren or whatever the case may be. So there may be an opportunity for her to then open up secure compound interest accounts for her grandchildren to be able to produce a vehicle such that it builds wealth over time, and you're placing them in a position such that they will never have to go through what your mom maybe has gone through over her 69 years of life. So there are options. It just depends on what those options are, and we can't identify those options till we first kind of really understand what the goal is. So,
Okay, well, for Mark, his goal is to make sure his mom's
mom's
good.
taken
And
care
so
of.
I'm going to say this part to Mark. Okay, Mark, you are, if for those of you like Mark who are wondering, hey, I'm trying to make sure that my parent is going to be in good standing, because what if they're not? You are now their retirement plan, right? You are now their financial security. You are all they have to be able to uh, make sure that they're taken care of. That's a heavy burden when if you think your parents were trying to make it work and trying to figure it out. So are all of us, right? And our kids will have it even worse. So, Mark, you can start your plan now and you can leverage it for your mom too. Don't forget that it doesn't have to mean that they don't care who's receiving the tax-free income,
Right.
right? Right, Donnell? They don't
No, no
care.
doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. So if your daughter, Mark, if your daughter had a plan and started a plan, and your son and you and your wife and your parent, your mom got to a point where she needed to have help, she needed to have health care, or she had a medical emergency or something else happened and you needed to have leverage there, you could leverage all of them. They do not care how you use them. That is what makes this different, because now you have the freedom and access to use it. So I mean, you're the expert on this, not me. I just feel like, Mark,
I'm with you.
Okay, cool. All right. Nathan says, is a lump sum amount at the beginning of the policy capped? Can that lump sum amount be contributed later? Oh,
Is the
I like
lump
that.
sum capped? I'm going to say yes and no. You can put in up to what you make. So unlike an IRA or 401k, IRAs are absolutely capped at a certain dollar amount. 401ks are a little bit better, but those are capped as well. But let's say you make six-figure income. You're able to contribute up to that six-figure income. So that is your cap, what you make. If you so here's what that would look like. Let's say you've got a $500,000 sitting in a savings account and you wanted to dump all 500,000 in there. What is the maximum amount that you would be able to contribute into a product like this? There's this thing called max insurability. That max insurability is based off your age and a multiplier. So using this gentleman who's 40 years old, his max insurability is I think it's 30 times his income. So I don't really remember what he makes, but let's say he makes six-figure income, $100,000 a year. So 40 times $100,000 a year, that's $4 million. His max insurability is $4 million. Well, $10,000 a month policy is buying a $300,000 policy. So he is $3.7 million away from hitting his max insurability. So he's got about $3.7 million worth of room. Well, how do you get $3.7 million or $4 million into a policy? Just work the math backwards. 40 times your income is $4 million. That means you can get $100,000 a year inside of this policy to achieve that $4 million. So that is the max. Words,
Okay.
words.
Words. I wish I had that track. I play it right now. Okay, if I start a SCIA with the money I have in a 401k, 403b from a previous employer, he's 60, is it okay to stop contributing to my current employer's 401k and instead put the money into a SCIA?
I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a tax attorney. This is not financial advice. This is strictly my opinion. I am not here to tell you what you could do. Would you leave it up for me? Could do with your money. But I just want to make sure this is clear. This is purely my opinion. What you do is what you do. I walk you through what it is I'm doing with my money and how my clients are actually functioning with theirs. But just to make this clear, this is not financial advice. So if I start a SCIA with money in my 401k and 403b, this is how this may be possible for this. Would you leave it up for me? This is how this may be possible for this gentleman, but it may not be possible for everyone else. And it's possible for this gentleman because he's already at retirement age. Because he's at retirement age, he can take distributions from 401k and 403b already. He has to pay taxes on that money, but he wouldn't be penalized on that money because he's already at retirement age. So can he use money in his previous employer's plans to be able to fund a SCIA? The answer is yes. A better question is, should you though? That takes more detail. Now, if you stop contributing to your current employer's plan, I'm a fan of math, meaning maybe your employer is offering you a match. So maybe you contribute just up to that match and you take whatever that, because you've already been contributing to it for this amount of time. So there's already money in it. It is compounding. It is growing. I can show you the math on whether or not it's growing well or not, but it is compounding. So I would contribute up to the match. Anything over that, I would get into a secure compound interest account and get that money working for you. So that's kind of the short of it all. Thanks, sweetheart.
Okay. Bab says, let me gotta go back and forth. Can I get an MPI on my 40-year-old daughter? Does both have to qualify, and would I be the owner? I'm 65, retired, lump sum contribution of 20K, monthly of 1,200. After 3 years, can I make a withdrawal? So her daughter's 40 years old. She wants to own the policy on her, do a lump sum of 20K, $1,200 a month and then after 3 years, make a withdrawal.
Got it.
Okay.
$1,200 a month. So, and it said after 5 years or 3 years?
3. She was wanting to know after $1,200 a month, but she said, but after 3 years, could she make a withdrawal?
Yep. So a couple things. Can you fund a policy on your 40-year-old child? Damn it. Child?
Well, you know what? We're just gonna keep calling them kids. We kind of try to find a way to not call adult children,
I don't know why I get
kids.
tripped on. I don't even remember where I was. Like now I got to start over.
Yeah, just okay. You know what?
All right.
Cut. Okay, take two.
So okay, can you own a policy on your 40-year-old? The answer is no. You can't own a policy on your 40-year-old. You can fund a policy for your 40-year-old, and then you would have to work it out with your 40-year-old to be able to receive whatever that income is from that policy. That's number one. Now, let's say you started a trust, and the trust owned MPI plans on everyone in the family. That's possible as well. And with you being the trustee of that trust, then you could again dictate how income is distributed. So I would suggest more the trust owning policies at your age and your child's age being 40. That is not an age where you would be able to own a policy on your 40-year-old. But if your child was somewhere around, I think it's 25 years or less, then you could own a policy for a 25-year-old or younger, if you were to do a policy on them. So again, you can't own the policy, but you can fund the policy, and then you guys work out whatever that distribution of income is. And now, once you funded the policy for 3 years, what does that math look like? So if you've accumulated $46,000 in liquid cash, if you needed some portion of that to be able to use and do something with, yes, you have the full autonomy to use whatever you wanted to use inside of this 46,000 up to reason. I'd say if you wanted to leverage 100% of it, I wouldn't suggest that. But if you wanted to leverage, let's call it 20 grand to go pay a bill or something like that, you absolutely can do that. So yes, you can leverage it as early as you want. But again, you give this money more time. And again, I understand your time horizon might look a little bit different, but you give this money more time, it puts you in a much different position to not just leverage, but you can also take income. So yes, not only can you leverage this dollar amount, but you also have about $50,000 tax-free that you would be able to use as income as well.
Okay, Antonio says, can you borrow the insurance company's money? That is a part of the relock. Maybe he was answering somebody.
No, I got it. That is
Okay.
an awesome question. So the short answer to that question is yes. And let me give you a real world example. I'm in year 3 of my MPI policy right now. And the thought process is, instead of using all of the relock and putting that into year 3, we're going to use a portion of the relock to open up more policies. So can you leverage the relock portion to be able to do other things? And the short answer is yes. Good question.
Okay. Diva wants to know, how do we get on your calendar, and does it cost anything, at least for the initial consultation?
Yep. I'm a fiduciary. I can't legally charge you to have a conversation, because that would be me. It's almost like there's some incentive for you to work with me, and I can't legally do that. So get on my calendar. Is it? Yep, there it
Yep.
is. To get on my calendar, simply go to selfdirected.info. Over there in the right corner, you'll see a little calendar. Click on it, and you can jump on. I apologize if it is starting to fill up. You guys have been amazing. I want to say this week, I probably had over 40 conversations this week alone with individuals from these lives. So I do appreciate you. It's been, I call it very eye-opening for me, especially when you guys start throwing my words back at me. So I really do appreciate a lot of the conversations I've been having. So yeah, to jump on my calendar is selfdirected.info. I think it's / calendar, and do whatever you got to do.
Okay, and there it is. So we've got a couple more questions. Why is it just doing that on my end, or do you see me going off and back?
It's going off and back. I told you, I
Yeah.
thought you were playing hokey pokey. Like, you got
No,
all sorts
it's
of games.
it's doing that on its own, and so my face always goes like, "What the heck?"
Tell you,
And
the
you
bingo
guys,
card, man. No one would have a center today, by the way. Notice, no one would have a center, because the center is my camera. No one would have a
right?
center.
Yeah, we
Boom.
need to
No
get
one's
that.
winning today.
We need to get that bingo card. Okay, at the beginning of year three, the amount increased due to the earning from S&P investment, right?
So there is additional growth added because of. So let me kind of back up a little bit. A
Okay.
whole life policy gives you guaranteed growth. One of the powers, or one of the people who you pop back on. I know you're not looking, but you did pop back on. Just hi.
I am. I don't see me
I do.
on. Oh, wow.
I do.
Okay.
Gonna hang
Well,
out.
this how I gotta see, guys. Okay, I gotta be down here close to the screen so I can see your comments. So I just go off screen so you don't have to see the top of my head.
That's all. I was just letting you know. So
Okay,
okay.
thanks.
So just kind of backing up and just kind of talking through. So the guaranteed growth inside of a whole life policy is usually what people who sell whole life policies like a bank on. Like there's a guaranteed growth inside your account. Well, inside of an IUL, there's not guaranteed growth, but there's a range of growth. So again, it's not guaranteed, but there's this range of 3 to 7%. That's where that 5% growth from the general fund comes from. When we get that 5% growth, the whole point of getting an IUL in general is we're leveraging the performance of the stock market to help exponentially grow your money more. So the call option is being used to just add more growth. The leverage, the relock feature is really what allows this thing to exponentially get bigger. The call option is just an additive. It's really more the leverage, the relock feature that allows for this exponential growth that occurs. The call option is just, I'll call it sprinkles and icing on the cake that allows this thing to kind of really perform, because that 10% growth on that call option is awesome. And again, it just allows this thing to kind of explode even further. So the call option isn't all of the growth. I'll call it a very significant portion of the growth. Majority of the growth happens from that relock feature. Majority of the growth happens from you being able to use other people's money, protect it, and then compound it as well. So words.
Okay, here's a great one from Jeannie. She says, "What if I take money from my IRA to establish an MPI? Are there tax implications?"
Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but here's what I know about IRAs. And you said IRA, you didn't say Roth IRA, so I'm going to assume this is traditional dollars. Uh, Again, and I'm going to make an assumption. I'm going to assume you are not at retirement age. So you will be taxed and penalized on any money you move into a life insurance based product. Why is that? IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, government 457 plans all function in the same space. They are what's called qualified plans. You can move money between them penalty-free, tax-free all day long with no problem. But the minute you move money from a qualified plan into a life insurance-based plan, you will be taxed and penalized on doing so. So therefore, if you were to do that, you will be taxed. You will be penalized on that amount that you put in there. There's a better way. There are annuities that have index growth and that produce tax-free growth for life. So I would suggest more, instead of taking that tax and penalty hit, we look at the math, or maybe it would make more sense to move your IRA into an annuity. And let's understand how that annuity grows and see if we can't do better there versus you taking some 30% hit on your IRA.
Yep. Okay, Lolo says the 4% rule, is that a requirement or just a recommendation when it comes to the income from traditional retirement accounts?
That's a great question. If your retirement account is with a financial institution like a Fidelity, Vanguard, Morgan Stanley, they are using the 4% rule to determine what your income is. Is that a recommendation or a requirement? I don't think there's any contract written that says this is the way it is going to be. This is them trying to preserve your retirement. So they're doing this for you. They're not doing this for anyone else other than you. They're not doing it for, well, that's a lie. They're doing this for you while also taking the fees. So they're making money off their, what is it, 2/3, sweetheart? They're taking 2/3 of your retirement over this time, but that 4% is really designed so that you don't run out of money. Can you take more than the 4%? I don't know if that institution would allow. My gut says you can take whatever you want, but what you're doing is you're putting your retirement in jeopardy in doing so. The way you beat the 4% is you get your money out of these traditional vehicles and you put them in a place where you can beat the 4% rule. So how do you beat the 4% rule? Well, you self-direct your retirement account. You self-direct it into a vehicle that will allow you to beat it. What kind of vehicles like that or would be like that? Well, real estate is a great one. There's land, subject twos. There's, if you are good at it, you can even put these dollars into your own brokerage type account, and you can dictate where they go instead of these mutual funds, stocks, and bonds that are sitting with these other institutions that aren't serving you as well. So, but what does that require? That requires you being an active part of growing your retirement, and not many people are in that position to be able to do so. So that's kind of how that would happen. So the 4% rule is not you didn't sign a contract saying you can only get 4% out. This is those financial institutions having your best interest at heart, and making sure you don't run out of money.
Okay, Scott said, hey, Scott, says, after year 3, can you borrow against your liquid cash and use it as use part of it as a lump sum?
So I think what you're saying is, can I borrow money from my SCIA and put the money back into my SCIA? The short answer is yes, but I would say, why take it out in the first place? Because you are getting the full complement of the growth with it sitting in there. Again, this is different than traditional life insurance based products, because you're not losing money inside of your product, inside of this product. So you're actually making more money with just letting the money sit there, than you would be taking the money out and then paying the 4% and then putting it back and on with 3%. Like the math, the math would work better the math would work better if you just simply allowed the money to compound over time versus taking the money out and putting it back in. The tongue is moving too fast.
Yeah, it is.
Slow my tongue down.
It is for sure. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something fun. We have never done this before, but here we go. There we are. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. We're going to actually do a drawing. Guys down?
That's dope.
Yeah, we're gonna see who is gonna win the boat tonight based off of the chat. So let's go. Who's it gonna be?
So did the names just fill themselves?
That's right. That's who won.
Miss AB?
Miss AB won.
That's what I met with today. That's what had hit me all in the hort today. So congratulations. Hit me all in the hort.
Yeah, she yeah,
and wait a minute. Now, I got to ask. Was that rigged?
No, it picks it out of the chat. I don't make this. It's called Stream Alive. Yeah, and we just pick, you want to see something else that's really cool real quick? I'll show you guys this other thing that it does. So all the questions, it now helps me identify what those questions are. I can't pull them right up.
We're not seeing the questions. It's only me. We're not seeing the questions. It's only
Wait, what?
Although I don't have a problem being on camera, but there we go. Now we can see it. Yep. So
okay.
These are all of their questions that was asked?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, so then I think somebody was saying that there's like a lag. And here's a word cloud for all the comments. That's kind of a neat thing, no?
That's dope.
It's like, we don't care about your word clouding. It's like, just... Okay, so congratulations, Miss AB. We need you to send us. You are already in our system. We just don't have your address, so we don't know where to send your boat.
Text it to me.
Yep, just send it on over. Jeannie, yes, just get on his calendar. You guys can talk about annuities, what your options are, who can help, what to do, what the next steps are, and all of that. Yes, and congratulations for winning the boat. So if you, we've reached out to...
Where's the horn and the confetti and all that stuff?
Well, we did like a couple of... This sounds... It's a little Star Wars mixed with Celebration, It's a little... I don't know. What would you guys call it?
Are you calling it like when they're in the bar, when they're walking through the bar? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know. It sounds like a bop. It's better than that. But hey, we'll throw one of those in there too. Didn't you see the confetti? Had confetti. Okay, here's another question. Here's another last question. Mm-hmm. All right, after the policy begins to pay the yearly benefit, at what rate does the policy continue to grow if it is still being funded?
Okay, so if you want to go to the calculator, I can show you, but I can tell you.
Yep.
So using this example, let's say the time horizon is 15 years. And what that means is at age 55, I want to start taking distribution. So at this age of 55, I want to start taking this $48,000. So again, at age 55, taking this $48,000. Okay, let's say you start taking this $48,000. The assumption in this calculator is you're going to take this 48,000 for the rest of your life, which means you are no longer contributing into this product and you're just going to take this $48,000 forever. Well, how do we even come up with this 48,000? Like what is it? How do we come up? What is it comprised of? Well, notice it's a percentage of this number. And if I was to do the math, it's probably somewhere around 10.3, 10.5% or something like that. Let's just call it 10%. What this is saying is you could take a distribution of 10% from this number. And I'm saying distribution for a reason. And it's because this dollar amount, if you remember the buckets, this dollar amount is making 7 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3%, however many threes it is. So if you were to pool those together, that's 7 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, whatever, blah, 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 somewhere around 13, 14, 15% on average. So let's think about it. If this dollar amount is making 13%, but you're taking a distribution of 10%, notice you're just living off the interest. So this is why you can take this dollar amount forever. It's because if you're making 13% on this dollar amount and you're taking 10%, all you're doing is living off the interest, which means this number continues to grow by 3% every year. Well, the piece that I would try to connect people to is this. You can do that because, again, this calculator assumes that you're going to stop contributing this $1,200. Remember, you did was it 20,000 or was it 2,000?
20.
This is wrong. So this number is even larger. Jesus.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I didn't catch that.
So it's even better. How about this though? It's even better. So this calculator assumes, again, at age 55, you're going to stop contributing this $1,200 a month. Well, $1,200 a month is, what is that? I don't even know what it is. $1,200 a month is somewhere around 24. No, it's not. I don't even know what $1,200 a month is. It's somewhere around.
It's 14.4K a year.
That's what I meant. Somewhere around 15 grand a year.
I got you.
So if what this is assuming is instead of putting in that $15,000 a year, you're going to take this distribution of 56,000. Well, here's my challenge. If this is only $15,000, isn't there 15,000 in this number? And here's what I mean. Let's say you take this 56,000 and you put it in your checking account. Couldn't you turn right around and take $15,000 out of this number and put it here? Well, if you did that, what just happened? Well, instead of not contributing beyond 55, you just contributed till age 56. And if you do that, there's now even more money that you can take. And if you turn right around and take 15,000 out of this number again and put it here, now you've just funded this till 57. And what does that look like? Which means there's even more money. So here's my point. So if you fund this, if you continue to use this machine to make your contributions, meaning you don't contribute another $1,200 a month, you allow the machine to continue just printing money for you. And as this machine prints the money, you take the money that this machine is printing and you dump it into this vehicle so that you can continue your monthly payments. Now, this is saying you're making monthly payments of $1,200 a month. You could drop that down if you wanted. But my point is this. If you allow the machine to continue to make those premiums for you, that means you never have to turn this machine off. So what does this look like at age 70? What does it look like at 75? What does it look like?
Nathan wants to know what happens if you live past 90.
So this calculator assumes a life expectancy of 90. Here, I'll show you right here. So again, using this example, what this is saying is, well, let me go back to a reasonable age. Let me go back to, let's go 60. So This calculator assumes that at age 60, you're taking this $101,000 tax-free for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And if you do that, if you take this $101,000 from age 60 till age 90, you would have taken $3 million in retirement. So what happens if you live beyond 90? The illustration is actually built to age 120. So if you live past age 90, you still taking your $101 a year in income. Now, if you live till through age 120, then the life insurance company is just going to pay you out. So this is actually built till age 120, just so we're clear. But the calculator assumes a life expectancy of 90. So
All right. He says, so you can take a disbursement minus your yearly premium.
yeah. Well, I don't. That is
Uh,
true. I
no,
don't.
well, it's worded interestingly enough, but the point is you're taking the disbursement and then you're putting the premium back in,
That's
Nathan.
and again, you will not hear one certified MPI advisor say the words that I just said. This is my logic. This is Donnell's logic. My logic says this: if I'm able to get $101,000 at age 60, on top of everything else that I'm doing, I'm pretty confident I could free up $15,000 to keep contributing to this thing.
Yeah.
And if I could free up $15,000 to keep contributing, that means I am continuing the growth inside of this product. If I'm continuing the growth, that means there's more money every year that I'm able to take. That is Donnell's logic. You will not find one video that has that same logic, just so we're clear.
Okay. So we got to go back to the calculator because Antonio says, what happens if you die before 90?
Great question. So, and someone threw this, because I use this example all the time. Someone threw this back at me the other day, and I cracked up. And it was my example is always this. Let's say you start taking this 101,000, and you and your wife are on some island somewhere, and you're having a wonderful time, and you live till age 80. She rolls out your cake on your 80th birthday. You go to blow out the candles, and you fall face first into the cake, and you pass. So what happens when you pass? And notice, I don't talk a whole lot about life insurance. This is a life insurance based product, but you hear me focus on income. I'm focused on living. I'm not focused on dying, but this vehicle does offer a death benefit. So let's say something does happen at age 80. So you've taken this $101,000 over the next 20 years. And so you've taken $2 million or so into retirement. Then on your 80th birthday, you pass. Well, what happens when you pass? Well, there's a death benefit that pays out to your beneficiaries of almost $3 million. So you've taken $2 million into retirement, and you still passed on almost $3 million to your loved ones, or to your legacy, or to your trust, or to some type of nonprofit. Like wherever you want it to go, that's where it's going. But yeah, that's what happens. And so how did this number become so large? Well, it's the life insurance that was originally purchased, the growth on that life insurance, plus the cash value that was never touched. How was this cash value never touched? If you remember what I mentioned about the income is a percentage of the growth. So this dollar amount continues to grow even though you're taking income, which allows your cash value to continue to grow as well. Great question.
Yeah. All of these have been really great questions. Real quick, I just want to give one. I want to give a boat away. Another one because this was fun and I want to do it again. And because I'll never grow up. Like, who doesn't want to do this again? Okay, let's do it one more time. Just so you can also see it's not rigged. Gina, do you see the confetti now?
I do. But no music. It should be a party. Like, if we're going to celebrate, let's celebrate. We're back at the Star Wars bar.
Okay, one more time.
So we give away 3 votes?
3 votes. We're going to give 3 away.
Let's do it. You better remember the name.
Oh, stop it. Because I jump in the chat with everybody.
How do you remember the names?
No, it picks it from the chat. Whatever their name is in the chat, it says that.
No, I'm saying we need to make sure it was Gina. I don't remember her last name, and we need to make sure she knows how to get in contact with us so she can give us her address.
My love, this is being recorded right now.
Bruh.
All right.
I'm done. I'm ready to go.
I know. Hold on. One more.
Let's go.
I get it. Okay, one more.
I'm going to just sit here and be
Who
quiet.
is it? Mark Anthony. All right.
That's what's up.
You're the next
hilarious,
contestant.
man.
Come on down. Come on down. All right. On that note, I know it's late for everyone else. It's late for us. So I hope that the story about the boat really sits with you guys. And I hope that it's something that you hold dear to you. We're going to do more around this concept, around some of the mindset shifts too, just because we understand that some of you are watching by yourselves. Some of you are watching without a team. Some of you are trying to figure out, how can I hold these oars in which way I can to make the most impact on my entire family? And it is heavy, and we get that. And when people say that they're on board, and then, man, you turn around and they are rocking the boat and they are being irresponsible in your boat,
Or
and
going
you're,
the opposite direction.
man. And so we understand what that feels like too. And this is a community that we're forming. We're starting a movement. We are going to change what wealth looks like, and we're putting an end to the gatekeeping. This is us being the change that we wish to see. So join our Facebook group. We have some other opportunities that are being formed right now for those who are not in Facebook, but that is a great place to go and connect with other like-minded individuals who are on the same journey as you, so you don't feel so alone. Yeah. But on that note, time, on the perspective of time is the most valuable thing that we have. And I hope that that's also what is heavily communicated through all of our live streams. We respect your time, and we value the time that you're spending here with us. And our mantra is that we believe that even if you didn't come from a wealthy family,
You can make sure a wealthy family comes from you.
so stay focused,
Stay protected.
stay tuned.
Stay connected.
My name is Angelique,
And I'm Donnell.
and our goal is to help you.
Get self-directed.
All right, we're going to give you some free resources, so don't forget to contact us about your boats, and stay tuned for how to jump in and connect more with us.
Have a good night.
Hey, before you go, we want to remind you that becoming fully self-directed means gaining complete control over your wealth, time, and freedom. It's not just an idea. It's a framework, a mindset, and the power to make informed decisions to secure your future. Being here means you're taking those steps, and we want to thank you for allowing us to guide you. We believe that we grow farther and faster when we grow together. So tune in next time and tell a friend to tell a friend. We've helped thousands of people just like you start their journey to financial freedom. And if they can do it, you can too. And if you're ready to learn more, we got you. Get a head start by grabbing these 2 free books. But how do they get them, Donnell?
Head over to my website where you'll have access to a few things. A ton of free resources, case studies, and over 100 5-star reviews from people just like you. And in 15 minutes, we can explore what's possible for you. So don't wait.
Invest in what you want, when you want.
But first, let us help you get
Get self-directed.